Alright, let's go everybody. We've got Maru in the bottom left representing Team Envy. Player who recently I've been called out for. I've said he's probably not the GOAT. Let's just say he's making a good argument for otherwise recently. His opponent though, a big obstacle. It's his long-term teammate, of course. They both were on Jin Air Green Wings for many years together and have played in many big important tournaments. It's always mind games, it's always action. We have the genius Zerg, the smartest Zerg, the best preparation player in the world, Dragon Phoenix Gaming's Rogue. And until the advent of Serral on the scene, Rogue was the best late game player in the world for Zerg. Serral, I think in their famous 2018 semifinals at BlizzCon, where Serral did block Rogue from getting his second championship, Rogue fell short, but only by a little in that series. Of course, Serral was in unstoppable form at that time, but I think you look at Rogue over the years, and Rogue, as the number of high caliber, high tier tournaments that he's actually won at this point, it is indisputable that he is one of the gods. I think that the strangest thing about Rogue is he has a almost Scarlet-esque quality, where such a god, but also there is a little bit of a question mark of, have you been practicing? have you been playing the game? What Rogue is gonna show up? Because Rogue has like a real kind of factor of, I'm gonna win the world championship. I'm gonna win an IEM Katowice. I'm gonna win a GSL. And then I'm gonna go, oh cool, I won a big tournament. I'm not gonna play the game for 2 months. At least this is the story that seems to get spread whenever you watch Rogue. Now, I also call Rogue the hype killer, guys, because Rogue is the most boring player in the world to watch against Protoss, because he literally just doesn't even make it look fair. If there is one player that makes an argument for Zerg being overpowered versus Protoss more than anybody else, it is Rogue. Like, his build orders, his timings, the gambles he takes, the way he studies his Protoss opponents and picks them apart. Like, I honestly, every time I see Rogue versus Protoss, I just shake my head and go, oh, please, no. I am always cheering for the Protoss because he has such an obscenely high win rate versus them, and it's very rare they can take him out. When they do, it's almost always off the back of some next level mind games, because he's such a bloody genius. And in ZVP, it's a matchup where it's all about kind of getting reads on your opponent, figuring out what they're doing off small pieces of information, cutting corners on both sides where you can, and Rogue takes that to a whole nother level. Nonetheless, enough about the backstory of these players. Maru has gone for a very standard opening. He's gone for that third command center. He's going for the starport, of course, 2 Hellions, then the tech lab goes down. However, with this barracks positioning, I'm questioning if this is just going to be a Liberator Viking, something like that coming out, maybe even a medevac for a Hellion drop, maybe skipping on that traditional Banshee follow-up. And in that case, if it is like a Liberator, you'll often see like 8 Hellions coming out of the factory, so keep our eyes on that. Tech Lab has gone down, and yeah, Viking first coming out for Maru. So he's going to try and clean up the Overlords. Of course, there's only one over there to the left. So far, no units going down on either side. Rogue pulling 2 workers off gas, leaving 1 mining to give him a little bit more gas flexibility. Spreading creep forwards. Now, the fact that he's already focusing his creep quite far to the left makes me think he's going to go for this 4th on the left. And I really do enjoy that. Because this 4th on the right, as nice as it is, if the Terran can keep your creep back, this area becomes very scary. Tanks can kind of leverage their way forward from there. They can really start to be a nuisance. And Stim already starting up even before the 2nd and 3rd barracks. So guys, this is... Wait, the fuck? Oh, he's faking it. I was like, why would you ever build a 2nd Viking? He's waiting for the Overlord to die. He's going to cancel that, build a reactor, and then plop 2 barracks down instantly. So there we go. Reactor goes down, and 2 barracks will go down. So he's just trying to fake it a little bit, say, ooh, yeah, I'm building Liberators and Medevacs and stuff right now. No tech lab, so it's not like you're faking a Banshee or a Raven or a Battlecruiser, but at least it's something. Now, that means that's the 2nd Overlord kill that goes down. So a couple of kills coming in so far. Rogue spreading creep out pretty well. 1, 2, 3, 4 tumors are out. Now, if he's worried about Hellbats, he's going to have to save energy, and notice he has. Notice how you'll see a lot of high-level players who aren't pros at this point have 12 creep tumors out and no energy on their queens, and they just die to a Hellbat timing. Rogue, 1, 2, 3 transfuses were ready from about 4 minutes 50. So Rogue here has really kind of, even though he's only on 7 queens, he's not going 9 or 10 queens. He's actually a lot safer than a lot of lesser Zergs because of that. Oh, a little slow on that pull though. And a great volley there for Maru. He's got this Viking here patrolling. Third base is landed. Second and third barracks are going to go over onto the reactors. Fourth and fifth barracks coming up. He's got to remember to start that 1-1 upgrade. Very important that he starts those. He gets +1. He's got to realize that he didn't start the armor. And I don't know if he did. He's built 10 Hellions this game, which is a lot. He'd like to get some more damage right now. Does get a few volleys off. Ooh, I don't know about this dive. I think this might be a bad call for Maru. The Lings, though, clump up. Rogue needs to disengage. You cannot let those Hellions in your mineral line. Good trades for Rogue, though. His defense has been rock solid so far. Fourth base as well. This went down at 5:30. That's a good fourth base timing. And he's going very quick Spire and double Evo Baynest. Guys, this is literally every advantage is there for Rogue with how this opening is going. Like, obviously, you can be like, well, those upgrades are faster for Maru. Yeah, they are, but honestly, Maru has to lean into his first stim 1-1 timing really hard. Because otherwise, Rogue is going to have mutas out on the map. I almost feel like Rogue could get away with droning a little more. He's building 4 more workers, so he's going to get a handful more. He shouldn't go further than that, really, because he's going to be building a big round of mutas, and then he needs to go into his banelings. Does he start 1-1 or mutas first? It looks like he's saving for mutas. 10 mutas at once, perhaps. You can see the Spire finishes, and look at all that money banking up. He's got 9 lava popping out of those hatcheries. Just remember, guys, mutas do suck at actually engaging front on. But 1-1 combat shield still a while away here for Maru. Now, guys, for those wondering the context of this, this is, of course, a qualification match for the next tournament. So this one is just from a little while ago, and I've been trying to source the replays because this series came highly recommended to me. And we managed to steal them from Wardy. And, okay, cancel. It's only a 5th base. This is the least important base for Rogue to defend right now. It's more of a macro hatch than anything else. Notice he doesn't have macro hatcheries because he's gone mutas. He's now also trying to get his upgrades started, as well as flyer upgrades. There's a lot of things all at once. Now, he's going to go out the left side. Oh, he's going to catch the Widow Mine drop. Maru needs to react really quickly. Rogue. Oh my god, Maru realizes Rogue not paying attention there. He's a bit distracted by this Marine drop on the right side. And now he's going to even try to defend the mutas with a Widow Mine drop. Maru Chad Gamer. A very creative defense there. Muta's going to start to pick some things off. Looks like that Viking will fall there. The mutas do get a gas. They can pick off a few more SCVs here. I'm surprised they didn't get a little more, but those Marines being ready in the main, it's actually really nicely done. Good repair, saves that depot. 5 SCVs, not bad. He should be able to get a few more with the bounce damage. The medevac might be able to heal that, though. Medevac's actually pretty good at healing up that bounce damage. Ooh, Rogue gets a little fancy there. Does lose a muta for 1 or 2 Marines. 4th base is on the way, drilling claws and all the rest. Now, I said Rogue has all the advantages. Well, he does have great momentum right now, guys, but he's got to do a spready. Oh, okay. It's just going to take out the Widow Mines there. Not the best banelings. Rogue, though, getting some damage. Oh, does lose another Mutalist. That's 3 mutas? 1? Wait, he didn't lose a muta before. Never mind, guys. I could have sworn he lost a muta, but apparently it was a perfect pullback. I saw blood popping out of it. It must have just been a muta taking damage, not actually dying. Macro hatch is on the way. It's very important for Rogue to start 2-2 the moment that's ready, because 2-2 is already on the way for Maru. Now, he is letting Maru get a bit too far into this game. Maru's actually being quite greedy, and right now he's very bare bones. He's basically just on Marines. So I honestly think if Rogue just holds down the Ling Bane muta key, probably no more mutas. He's already got 21. I think he can kill Maru's 4th. I don't think he needs to let Maru have this. The question is Rogue going to be decisive enough? Because, guys, remember, and we've even seen this with Rogue versus Dark. Rogue gets ahead versus Dark, but can't necessarily kill him. Rogue is such a strategic player, and he's so good at just killing people. One of the big problems Rogue's had in his career is that because he kills his opponent so easily, he doesn't get dragged into a war very often. How often do you see Rogue step out of a best of 3 or a best of 5 looking all bruised and bloody? It's not the case. Maru, Dark, it happens to them all the time. They're used to a messy game. So as ahead as I think Rogue is right now, what's he doing with it? Look at this. Maru's switching gears into full defense mode. He knows he's a little behind. He's so good at that game. The Overseer's here. Where's the Overlord speed? He doesn't have Overlord speed. So he's got to wait for that Overseer to catch up. So the lack of Overlord speed really slowing him down. He does start 2-2 and Overlord speed now, realizing that. But even now, it's like, hey, you're maxed. Come on, roll in and kill this 4th base. Rogue, he's running around with his mutas, but he's not finding anything with it. Muta harass is really good in this scenario if the Terran's pushing. Maru's not pushing. Maru has switched gears. He says, I'm behind. If I move on this map, Rogue is going to stomp me. And the thing is, Rogue's kind of waiting for Maru to make the first move. Maru's refusing to do it. And it's giving me hope that he could drag himself back into a game, which it really feels like Rogue dominated the early game of. Shut down his harassment, didn't take much damage. Okay. Oh, great Widowmine hit. Does save a few of the Marines. I don't think that's too bad for Maru, but he does have to just keep this base defended. He's got 2 Thors, 11 Widowmines, 46 Marines, 2 Marauders, 7 Medevacs, 78 SCVs to 89 workers. Hive is now on the way. The question is, where do you go with that Hive? Do you go straight Broodlords here? I think Broodlords is always a fantastic choice, but it's very expensive and hard to get to, very immobile as well, which is why Ultralisks is the more likely choice off of Mutiling Bane. Got some Lings on the right. Oh, he's going for the Iron Bank, guys. We know that Maru is one of the best late game players in the world. 2 more command centers. If he can get up to 4 or 5 more of those orbitals, as well as floating a 5th out and making a planetary, he's going to be very happy to just chill in this game. This push here is a little dangerous. I do think because he's got no real presence on the left other than a few spotting mines, Rogue could collapse on this. And Maru seems to sense it. He's going to kind of back off a little bit. Okay, lots of Ling Bane coming in. He's going to try and save the Thor. A few of these Marines try and boost back. The rest of his army's coming over. That Thor on the ramp. Oh, this is a bad angle for Rogue. Bad angle for Rogue! Rogue! Oh my god, Rogue going for a crazy engagement. I think this is the worst engagement I've ever seen from Rogue. I mean, he kills a lot of Maru's stuff, but the unit's lost type is going to tell a tale, and it does. If you kill a planetary, I don't mind a trade like that, but without killing a planetary, that's a problem. He's got to stop this base. He cannot let this base get up. He's got to kill that command center right now. If you take a trade like that with your Banelings just rolling into Marauders off Crete, like that was a Ragnarok engage, guys. I love Ragnarok as a player, but let's be real. Chucking a Ragnarok is literally like, it's engaging the way Sue used to engage, minus the winning the game afterwards. Oh man, I feel really bad. Ragnarok's fucking awesome. He's such a badass, but like, let's be real. I don't like seeing big balls of Banelings roll off creep like that. Okay, lots of Widowmines still spread over here. That one's gonna get a big hit. Is it? Nah, a couple. No big damage. And where are the Overseers? You gotta clean up these Widowmines. Now, we've seen this more and more recently. Players not keeping enough Overseers out. And we're seeing Terran players get way too much value out of Widowmine spreadies. Just spreading their Widowmines out, and it's giving them way too much. Now, I do think Maru needs to really consolidate. And what do I mean by that? I mean, he's still kind of fragile bank-wise. Obviously, Rogue is as well. Ooh, okay, good hot pickup. Widowmines will defend. There's so many Widowmines. Where's the Overseer? You've got to kill the Widowmines after this. Rogue having a bit of a brain fart. He's waiting for the Mutas to join in. Without the Mutas, he can't pick it off. Okay, he's going to kill some Medevacs here, which is not bad. Oh, that's actually a pretty nice little engage. He's going to get the Libs, a few Medevacs, a few Libs. A few more Banes do roll in. He's got to pull back and just pick off all these Widowmines to the north. If he can take those out, I think that's a very good fight for him. Rogue! He's leaving all the Widowmines to fire again and again. Oh, this is actually a big issue. This is actually a very big issue for him. Ultras are now hitting the field. 2-2s on the out. 3-3 will be done in 1 minute, of course. In this period, Maru has the double upgrade advantage. There's not that much coming in right now for Rogue. An odd fight for Rogue, to be honest. Fighting right before Chitinous Plating. And with only a handful of Zerglings and 2 Ultras, he wanted to defend that base. And I think he felt he had a big army. He had a lot of units in production, a lot of Banelings morphing. That there was a screwed engagement. And if he loses this base now off the back of it and takes a bad fight, which he is, yeah, I think he's getting rolled here. The Mutas will finally clean up, but not before a lot of them die. And oh god, he's not even going to clean up. That's it. That's it. Maru able to drag his way back into a game. And I'll tell you what, guys, you're not meant to be able to do that. You're not meant to be able to give up complete map control, let the Zerg cover it in creep, macro to their heart's content while having Mutas controlling the map. You're not meant to just come back and then roll them a few minutes later with your first big push. This is just Rogue here, I think, absolutely focused on the heavy Mutas, which seems like a good idea. And it really is in a movement-focused, tempo, momentum-focused game. But Maru kind of countered the Mutalisks by just sitting at home, defending really well, and then saying, hey, we're max, and you have 45 supply and Mutas that haven't really done anything. Now come fight my Biomine Thor. And then the Marauders especially. Maru didn't really fight until he had a wall of Marauders up front. The Banelings really, really kind of bad at busting through that. He's going to push on forward now. A great spready there. Notice how he leaves the front line to tank. and the rest of the units pulled back and did a spread. Oh, beautiful play here. More Banelings coming in, so he pulls back that rear line. Widowmine's trying to land. The Banelings are somehow getting through. I don't know how the Widowmines managed to get through that line. How the Banelings managed to get through, sorry, a line of so many Widowmines. Picks up, he pulls back for now. Rogue actually holds on there. That fight, the Widowmines in the second stage of that fight seemed to be a bit duddy. Not the best ones. Fifth orbitals, 5 orbitals are up, sorry guys. We've got another one going up down here. Remember that you can run out of money. If you don't secure another base continually as the Terran to drop all those mules, you will be in trouble. That being said, Rogue's economy took a bit of a beating there, and he's on mass Ultra Bane. He's got Queens there to support. He's re-spreading his creep very well, but Widowmine's going to be coming in on these bases. Ooh, Medevac will get shot down. Unless it survives on 3 hit points, in which case I guess it won't. And look at that, these, oh no! Rogue, don't you dare! Oh, of course, look at this Maru. He's retargeting it, trying to be annoying. He was hoping that Rogue wouldn't be looking and would send the drones back to mining and could target them. Rogue did not take the bait. Rogue too good for that one now. Does Rogue have a chance in this game? Yes. He's not dead. After that fight turned in his favor, he's okay now, but he's gonna need to flank. He's up against pure Marauder Widowmine, basically. There's some Marines down here as well. Ultras, not too bad. You need Zerglings, though. So the real trick here is getting the Lings to drag the Widowmines on the Marauders and to flank and surround them so they can't stutter step. Baneling's going to be nearly worthless in these fights. It's about having plenty of Lings with your Ultras. It feels like Maru, though, using his army supply advantage, he split pushes. So he's not doubled down on either push. He's like, no, we're just going to kite. We're just going to go in, pull out, just do some stutter step. And even with the transfuses, mass band-aid not going to be enough. As I said, you need Zerglings. Marauders are terrible at fighting Zerglings. But without having enough Zerglings coming in, which of course the Zerg needs a lot of lava, a lot of minerals, a lot of production for, without those overwhelming numbers, it's very hard to do. A great run by in the bottom left gets a bunch of workers, and the planetary does burn down. But at what cost? This Ultra comes in, he's getting overwhelmed down here in the bottom right. He's going to lose that base. And a bunch of drones in the top left as well. That base is going to go down. Marauders on all sides. And the Ultraling trying to hang on. But Rogue, that previous fight over here, I really think that 2 Ultra engage he took was just too much of a disaster. I really think when his Ultras were out, he was just a little too slow to it. And that big Baneling fight off creep hurt him so much. Oh, the Widowmine! Youch, ouch, 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 ouch. You can look at all these fights and say, what are you talking about, Pig? Lings aren't good versus Marauders. Well, not in equal numbers. Remember, 5 Zerglings, the same cost as a Marauder. And I'll tell you what, guys, if you have 5 Zerglings fighting a Marauder, the Marauder does not even kill one of them. Marauders are absolutely trash-tastic at fighting against Zerglings, but the Marines kill Zerglings very quickly. Widowmines, of course, very good at punishing big clumps of small units, which is why, like I said, having Lings in there is good, but it's not like Mass Ling is exactly the most solid late-game composition, is it? So you kind of need to mix everything, and of course, things like Fungal to lock down the Marauders can be game-changing. You can see the gas bank now for Rogue. That's not because he messed up his mineral balance. It's not because, oh, he's stupid and should have built Infestors. It's because he's lost all of his mineral mining. He's been losing his economy. You lose your mineral income. That's the first thing that you lose, because your newest bases often don't have gas. They only have minerals. So your gas income stays the same as you lose your drones, you lose your hatcheries, your mineral income takes a big dip, and you do end up with that imbalance. And often it's not so much about, oh, should he move units here or there, because he doesn't even have the bases to. And it's just, you're going to naturally have a gas bank. And that is what happens. Maru there with a very nice comeback. Guys, I want to very quickly just take a glance back in that game, because let's remember, at the 8-minute mark, Rogue was well up in supply with muta control. Let's go to about 9 minutes maybe. Yeah, let's go to 9 minutes, I think, is a real snapshot of kind of maybe this point here. Just past 8 minutes. And I really do think if Rogue stopped at like 13, maybe gets these 4 more mutas to 17 mutas. But I think if he, when 1-1 kicked in, committed to a huge Ling Bane timing, he could have killed Maru's 4th. Because look at what Maru actually has going for him. I also think missing that Widowmine drop with the mutas, that would have been huge if he killed that. Because these Widowmines actually helped stabilize this mineral line as well. They really, really defended his harassment. But if you look at this, when that 1-1 kicks in, Rogue is investing in mass Mutalisk. And he's just kind of adding a few drones, adding a few drones, adding a few drones, going towards Hive. I think if he committed to a timing here, I don't know if Rogue realized that he was in the position he was, But guys, he's up 32 supply right now. And what does Maru actually have to defend? A bunch of Marines? A couple of Hellbats. He does have 8 Widow Mines, which is nice. But, I mean, you're Rogue. Rogue can spread versus Widow Mines really well. And on this right side, there's only a single Widow Mine. Maru could not defend this 4th base at this moment. And he really was just playing turtle mode because he knew he was behind. He's like, I'll make armor upgrades. I'll make attack upgrades. We'll build more turrets. We'll leave Marines in the main. But I do think Rogue missed a huge opportunity between 9 minutes, 9 minutes 30 to straight up win this game. Instead played a very defensive style. And the thing is, I'll tell you what, if he knew Maru was not going to push and was just going to turtle up, well, he would have already built that infestation pit a minute ago, not 13 seconds ago. He would already have been on the way to Hive, adding infestors, and all this sort of stuff. Because the problem with Mutiling Bane, guys, is this composition sucks balls once you're maxed. And that's what Maru did. He waited till they were maxed and he fought at that time. And Rogue's army sucked balls. This fight on the right side over here, I mean, this was the travesty of all travesties. And we're going to watch it again one more time before we go into the second game. Just because I can't believe Rogue took that fight, man. It was gross. He also took some bad fights into these Widow Mines on the left side as well. Really didn't want to give any map control, of course, to Maru. But this here, Maru kind of poked out, lured Rogue in, and the fact that Rogue engaged into this area, he saw the Widow Mines weren't burrowed, so he thought he could do it. But my God, that's a dicey engagement. Off creep, down a choke point. Disastrous decision for Rogue there. GG. Let's go to game 2. All right, a nice game 1 victory down here in the bottom right. We've got Team Envy's Maru. Now we're going into Curious Minds in the top left. It's Rogue. Now this map is all about that multi-prong. It's a pretty short rush distance, but there are some wide open spaces. Now what I found really fascinating about this map so far is I've noticed a lot of Terrans just go straight tanks on this map. And that's because there's some great tank spots, right? So if Rogue takes this third, you can get tanks. If you get tanks up here, oh my God, that's hard to dislodge. But even people that put like tanks on these edges and here, and it seems cute. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say these areas are so wide open. They're so easy to flank around from different angles. I actually think the tank style on this map is the wrong way to play the map. I think it's catching people off because they're not ready. Obviously, oh, they take this third, you get tanks here, oh, down here. There are some great positions, but I actually think this map plays much better to Widow Mine multi-prong. Kind of what he was doing in the latter stage of that last game, right? Pushing down the flanks of the map as far apart as possible, very mobile, picking up and boosting out when you get in trouble, that sort of stuff. I think that's actually the best way to play here, and I do think it can be rather stressful on both sides. Now for the Terran, I think because it's shorter push paths, it's kind of hard for the Zerg to get map control. They don't have as much creep to work with. They don't have as much time to respond. But like I said, big open areas, pretty good for the Zerg. Problem for the Terran, good thing for the Zerg, is the fact that once you get past your third base, out to your fourth over here, there's already a good gap between your third and fourth. And then when you take a fifth, it's sticking out like a sore thumb. Whether it's up here or in the top right, either way, it is so far distant from the rest of your base. Now that hatchery will go down momentarily. Bit of Reaper micro going on, of course. And Rogue does put that hatchery down. Loses a Zergling there. Rogue also didn't get the hatchery down till 100 minerals. That's what we call pig micro. Losing a Zergling and forgetting to put your hatch down for 3 whole seconds. Inexcusable. And third command center, once again, Maru taking a leaf out of Clem's book and saying, let's just go 3CC every single game. Why not? No one can punish us. Now, Rogue is one of the guys who I think if he thinks you're going to do that every game, he might have actually cheesed and all in, but it seems like Rogue's playing pretty standard. Now, keep in mind, these guys have been teammates for so many years, so they know a lot about each other. And usually when they play, it's a little bit... There's clearly things, mind games going on where it feels like sometimes they're tripping over their own feet trying to trick the opponent, these two. That last game was pretty solid on both sides, but it's definitely like a weird thing where because they were teammates for so many years, because they've played so many high-profile matches, sometimes the mind games get actually just weird. And you're like, what? Why is he doing this thing? And it's this weird meta between the two players being some of the absolute best of their respective races in the world. Back at home, looks like we are going to see that starport swap onto the tech lab for the standard Banshee this time around for Maru. Indeed he will. And he's got, of course, the second gas now harvesting in the main base as well. Oh, So that's definitely a Banshee, isn't it, Pig? All right, guys, apparently Maru not a fan of letting Rogue see what's happening. He's like, fuck you, dude. I know how good Rogue is. If I let him have information, I've got to kill his overlords. I've got to deny his vision or I'm not going to get anything done. Now, when does Rogue put back on gas? He actually puts back on gas just before the 4-minute mark. Remember, he left one mining this whole time up to then. And frantically trying to saturate the third base. Now, a lot of people studying these rule of 1 gas builds, the most standard solid ZVT opening you see from every Zerg player at pro level, pretty much every ZVT, is look at how quick that third base gets saturated, guys. Now, he's got 6 queens, going up to 8 queens already. So he's built his queens so early. But 4 minutes 30, he's already got 11 workers on that base. He's got 8 Zerglings in reserve to defend any Hellion run-bys. He's actually... He did hit a little bit of a supply block. Needs to hit those drones, does Rogue. He's building 8 more Zerglings. Rogue has really got to get those drones finished off. Finally, 5 more workers do come in. He's a little slow to get the final 5, but he is going to be fully saturated on that third base right around the 5-minute mark, which is still pretty nice. The Viking has killed an Overlord. But you'll notice the Overlord spread as well. He's got good vision out front. And I actually advise a lot of players out there put these Overlords even further out front and only pull them back if you see that your opponent's actually gone for the Viking. As we see, Rogue will lose that Overlord there. Not the end of the world, though. Maru landing his third base. His double engineering bay going down. He's already adding his second and third barracks, of course, getting a reactor ready there and there to float those barracks onto. Hellions on the front, just got a creep tumor, guys. Oh, he's going to go for the queens. Whoa. Whoa, Rogue. Rogue has plenty of transfuses, though. He's like, come on, dickhead. Please trade your hit points with me. I would love that. Fourth base going up here. Zerglings. Oh no, he could have got fresh mules. 2 fresh mules, guys. Oh, juicy targets. Juicy Lucy there. Juicy Lucy. Oh, he's going to save some of them, but he will lose a lot of mining. Hellions will get surrounded. Banshee comes in, almost dies to a Spore Crawler. The Hellions do get pulled back. These Zerglings going to split up here. It's a little bit chaotic there, but the mules did lose a fair bit of mining. They do both survive, though. Well done. Could have been a lot worse there. Looks like 2 Hellions dying. 16 Lings have gone down. Overall, the trade's not too bad for Mr. Maru. But the 1-1 upgrade's a little bit better time. So this time around, we expect to see the Hydraling Bane play from Rogue, guys. It's going to be very creep dependent on how effective that composition is. And keep your eyes out for timing attacks. A lot of people have just been going, oh, cool, I'm playing fast double Evo, and I'm going to roll over you with 2-2 Hydraling Bane. I'm going to crush your third, your fourth base. And on a map like this, say he takes a fourth, and you can see Rogue attack down this ramp. He can attack down there. He could even break the rocks in the middle. He can attack down here. So he can spread his units and just come in with a giant spready where Widowmines are going to struggle to find the damage. Now, I talked about people going straight tank on this map. Maru's doing it. He's going straight tank. He's just going to keep building tanks. He's already got a 4th command center on the way. My lord. Dude, the Terran is so macro-centric these days. And for anyone, like, I've talked about it as being something that I really do think people clued onto in the online era, because they were like, wait a second, even with like out perfect control with our first like marine tank push, we can actually still out macro our opponent in the long term, right? As a Terran, if we go to 4th command center. Well, this is obviously played on the Korean server, guys. This is obviously played with no lag. And yet Maru's still like, no, I only take the fastest 4th of all time, and my economy is just going to be rolling. And you know what? I can poke and prod, but I'm going to take the pressure off having to do damage, right? That the worst situation pros have found is like, oh, I've got to do damage right now, because it simplifies the game plan for your opponent, right? Whereas we're seeing Zerg players also feel like they have to do something. That last game, Rogue was ahead. He didn't do anything with that advantage. If Maru attacked into him, Rogue would have crushed the army, been even further ahead, probably just won the game. But instead, Maru defended and was like, nah, I'll just take a 4th and chill for a while, and you're going to stay on lair tech too long, and bam. I've got a better comp. And now look at this. 4th command center is floating out before 8 minutes. 2nd factory on the way at the front. Now, he has to start his 2-2. Viking does get shot down. Nice move by Rogue. But look at this. He's clearing creep very effectively. And interestingly, guys, he's actually going to send 4 medevacs all down the south. Ooh, so he's going to dive on this hatch. There's plenty of Ling Bane, though. Bane speed's done. +2 carapace starts, as does +2 melee. Now, interestingly enough, guys, I was like, cool, he's going Hydras. He's not. He's going 6 gas ultra? Wait, what? Okay, the Hydroden finally goes down. All right, it was a little late on that Hydroden, guys. Hydroden should go down with the infestation pit, but okay. Oh! Banelings. Yep. All right, Baneling's forcing the pick up there. Gets a couple of Marines. I think that's a decent fight for Rogue, but he's got to get a move on with respreading his creep on the south side. That's the real damage that's being done. This one Banshee being an absolute annoying bastard for Rogue to deal with. Great creep on that right top side. Fourth base is up for Maru, though. He did forget his +2 armor. The opposite of Bjarnitis. Bjarn always starts his +2 armor, forgets his attack. Maru starting the more important of the upgrades, but does still need to start the +2 armor as well. Now, guys, where are the Hydras? Guess what? That Hydra style is not happening. This is going to be Lingbane Lurker for Rogue. It's a very good style, but Terrans are very adept at playing against it. Looks like some Lingbane kind of trickling on into their death. Rogue is up on 5 bases. He's got the hive started. Lurker Den goes down along with that, so a bit of a delay on that hive. And this is just because Maru is forcing him to micro everywhere. I think Rogue needs to get this watchtower back. He needs to control the south side. That Banshee, it seems like a small thing, but it's actually kept Rogue off controlling the south side nearly as much as he wants to. And the north, I mean, that's still... I don't know what you call this area, but as a Terran, if I'm a single Marine, a lowly Marine, and I get orders to go up there, I go, oh, we've got orders to go into the fuck zone. Shit. Okay, guys, make sure you've filled out your will and signed your life insurance papers, because if you got to go on that top side of the map, you're not going to be too happy about it. You're going to hope there's a big wall of marauders in front of you, a shitload of Widow Mines and tanks backing you up. Giant crazy run by as a Banshee does cancel that hatchery in the bottom left side, but my god, I think we just saw some absolutely deadly Banshee Widow Mine and tank shots on the Lingbane. Clearing the mineral line's good. I love the burrow in the worker line. Came a little bit too late though. The chaos was already calming down a little bit. And he's going to hide his overseers, try and get those out of there. 21 workers. This is damage. This is meaningful damage. Wait a second. No, Maru was already on 90 workers, so he doesn't care, guys. Finally! The Banshee is going to go down. That's been such a thorn in his side. He's going to try and finally get this watchtower back, but this has already distracted him for so long. And there is a big old drop in the north side of the map. His army's scrambling to respond, but he can't lose this bottom hatch at the same time. Rogue's getting stuck here. His upgrades are also delayed because he's so busy microing. And Maru's doing pretty low risk pressure here. Oh, he gets a hatch. That's a big one. And he's like, oh, I'll go drop past you now because you don't have any proper anti-air. And I really do think Rogue needs to get a move on with starting a Viper or two. Also, of course, he's trying to play Lingbane Lurker. It means his anti-air does kind of suck. And Maru's just denying his map vision. Oh, that's a kill, not a cancel. Check that units lost tab. Maru getting way ahead here. It definitely feels like Maru's doing a good job of dictating the pace of the game. And it feels like he's finding ways to engage when Rogue is looking elsewhere, and Rogue is kind of like getting interrupted in his rhythm. Now that being said, double upgrades. +1 range, +3 carapace. Going to be very important there. He's going to go Adaptive Talons. He's already got Seismic Spines. Lurkers have been morphed. I'd like to see these Lurkers start to get out there, ready to do some run-bys at this point. I do think the early Lurker run-bys can be a massive momentum swing. Spore Crawler goes down there. Saves the medevac. Going to need a few more of these spores. The Queen's coming down. They'll get one, but guess what, guys? Ling's going for a run-by. Double drop in the north. This drop gets in the back there. Queens will come forward and defend this. But Ling's getting on top of the production as well. Lingbane coming on in. Oh, this is not a great fight for Rogue. He just doesn't have the numbers. I mean, it was a decent angle. He just doesn't have the numbers. Marines dropping there. Double drop comes back in as Rogue panic pulls his units away. As I said, Lurkers would be huge on the run-by right now, but his whole economy is getting shredded. Maru, he's giving up his front base because he doesn't give a shit. He's like, it's fine, I'll just kill you at home, bro. Oh, the Marauders, such a good sniping squad. Doesn't pick him up in time, so they do go down, but he's losing all of his bases. Rogue loses 3 bases. He needs to kill him right bloody now. Those Ghosts and Marines, very important units, but good pullbacks by Maru. And you can see Banelings are not very effective versus Ghosts, guys. You get them in a big clump, they're good for interrupting their snipes. But in this scenario, it's like, cool, you're doing damage. Is it going to be enough? Rogue has to break him. He's got to get in there right now. The wall-off's up. Oh my god, he's got to get in and reinforce the Lurkers. But the Lurkers are going to get taken down before he gets up there. That raise on the depots may have just saved Maru's life. He's taken out the Lurkers. It's just Lingbane rallying in now. There's nothing that shoots up here. And it looks like there's just enough bio to defend that main base round. Command centers are starting to burn down there on the low ground. Depots getting torn down as well. Rogue has rebuilt 1, 2 hatcheries behind this. He's still on 64 workers. He's even going to burrow a Zergling just to be a bit of a cheeky dickhead. And there's no scans. No, there's plenty of scans right now, but he is mega supply blocked. So check it out, guys. He's going to try and land that. He's got to repair that, and he will do so. Mass Depot trying to be rebuilt. So this was some pretty decent damage for Rogue. He's got to watch out. Random Widow Mines are going to be trying to walk into his base. The Zerglings will take a few hits there, but he's got to keep making these Overseers. New Overseer being made. He's up on 8 Lurkers, 2 more on the way. And I think Lurker harassment, whenever shit hits the fan, is going to be very important. Widow Mines are still everywhere, though. He's got to deal with those Widow Mines. Trying to rebuild some drones right now is Rogue. I think he needs just Hydraling Bane to back up his Lurkers. That's all he needs right now. Does have 1 Hydra upgrade done. Oh, he tries to do a frontal Lurker push. The Chad Gamer that is Rogue, but this may, I say Chad Gamer. You know, there's a fine line between a Chad and a virgin, and I think right now it may be Maru being the one who's doing the fucking. Rogue is in trouble. He just threw away all of his Lurkers. Attacking with unsupported Lurkers, man, just into the open there. I think he thought, because he saw Maru's army on the south, he was like, yeah, well, you're going to push me. Fuck you, I'm going to push you. But Maru just quickly pulled back his ghost, sniped them down from out of range, and, it's true. It's true, Twitch chat. He is doing the banging in this one. I think Maru's managed to survive the most dangerous points. And remember, he built extra orbitals as well, as that Widow Mine fires and gets another 4 drones. He's got 5 orbitals, so lots of scans available to Maru, as well as lots of mules. And he's going to start trying to clear up this creep in the south side. He's got a Widow Mine there. And back in the driver's seat is Maru. Rogue's got 76 workers, but it just feels like when the Terran's already at 120 army supply, you've got so much catching up to do. It's a big problem. This burrowed Zergling is sitting there, creating an unstable foundation, but that ghost does come and just smooths the ground out, compacts the dirt before the command center lands. Ghost coming forward. You can't be fighting the ghosts on the edge of their range. You need to have enough Ling Bane to jump on top, because otherwise these ghosts are just going to start getting really effective trades. So you can see he's got the Ling Bane. He's going to try and do a bit of a run by. Bit of a cheeky run around, but because he's been spotted and because he once again does not have Overseers with his secondary army. Now I've noticed this more and more recently where players aren't always adding an Overseer to their Ling Bane counterattack. People have started doing that in ZVP really well, but a lot of the time recently people are, because CVT is so frantic, they just grab Ling Bane, send it across the map. But you need to have Overseers with basically every section of your army, or the Widow Mines become huge problems for you over time. Some transfuses on that Lurker would certainly be much appreciated there. Does go down, very nice. Now the command center dropping for Maru. Maru's just trying to cement his endgame position. He's got 3-3. Extra upgrades still being added in here for Rogue. He's trying to add more Hydra upgrades. Rogue has Remax, so he's back in this game. He's got to be careful though. Snipes come down. Lurker needs more transfuse. Lurker does finally get popped there. That Hydra gets popped as well. Pop, 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 pop. For those who don't know, the way Ghost Snipe works, basically, it is called steady aim. We call it snipe. It used to be called snipe. Steady targeting. 1.43 seconds. If they can channel it for that long without getting any damage on them, which would interrupt the shot, obviously shakes their aim off if they take damage, I guess. They do 170 damage, irregardless of armor. Obviously only works on biological targets, though. Lurkerlings trying to come in, but those Lurkers get hammered. The Widow Mines hammer the Zerglings, and ooh, almost kills all the ghosts, but Maru, he takes a few Balings to the face, lifts up all but a Marauder. Does lose a building command center. Obviously, that's a loss. The Lings seem pretty good, but they don't have an Overseer, and the Ghost's Cloak is also going to be an issue. Now, these Widow Mines up here. Oh, he loses his Overseers. He's quickly going to morph some more ones, but that's such an annoyance for him. So he's going to try and get up there. Okay. 80 drones versus 61 SCVs. Now remember, how does Maru take another base? He's got this base. That's cool. But he can't really secure this one. I think he's better off actually trying to take the bottom left corner, as silly as that sounds. Because this base is already mostly mined out. So if he loses this, it's not too bad. But as long as he keeps this base and secures the bottom left corner, he's okay. But securing the bottom left and the top right at the same time, it's a fool's errand. You're just going to spread yourself a bit too thin. Speaking of spreading yourself, the Nidus Worm is going to come in. And that's something where Rogue is saying, well, maybe I get an Overseer in, pop a Nidus, get on your production with a bunch of Lurkers, and that gets me back in this game. Maybe. What's kind of funny here is there is only one factory right now, and it has no add-on. So he's just building Widow Mines one at a time, but the Ghost's good enough. How many barracks have we got here? Only 6. And he swapped most of them off reactors onto tech labs, or maybe their reactors died to the Lurkers. But look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on tech labs, 1 on the reactor. It's going to be pure Ghost Marauder here. And you know what? It works. It works. Ghosts are a good enough unit as long as you've got the requisite control, a few Widow Mines to guard him from Massling Bane. Liberators, of course, helping out as well. They can do pretty well. Another Hydra goes down to a Widow Mine. These trades are always so good for Maru, who is 10,000 resources ahead. And he's playing very patiently, knowing that he's trading better. The way you lose as a Terran in this sort of scenario is you try to rush things. And look at that. He's just sniping them all for free. Oh my god, so many. How many lurkers have died this game? 26? 3 ghosts have died. 26 lurkers. Rogue, he's got to keep support with his lurkers. You need to keep Banelings, Zerglings, Overseers, all that sort of stuff. And Maru wisely agrees with me. He's like, yeah, there's no fucking way I'm expanding to the top right. If I do that and defend it, it means I'm almost certainly losing the bottom left. This way, he can hold this watchtower and defend his most important bastions of income. Rogue! 27 lurkers? Okay, guys, there's a lot of people, myself included, who say the permanently stim-packed siege tank of the Zerg, the lurker, is kind of bullshit. But guys, that's just lurkers. Does that work? Does this work? I mean, this is so dangerous. It one-shots anything. It's got so much splash damage, but the ghosts are kind of outranging it. They're chipping at it from the right side. As long as Maru doesn't rush into this, he might have to lift this base. There's not much anti-air here. He's chipping at it. He's chipping at it. I feel like this is the worst case scenario for Rogue. I feel like you needed to wait for Maru to get out of position and push into the production. As it is, he's doing some damage. He's down to 19 lurkers. He's lost 8 of them. He is in the worker line. If he can get rid of this base, I mean, this is a very important position. It's just, where's the Ling Bane swarm? Where's the mass Zergling swarm? Remember when Raynor plays this, guys, he has like 100 Zerglings that can swarm the opponent's income. Maru realizes the only way to remove 20 lurkers from your base is to nuke them, apparently. Oh, moving into those units. So many lurkers go down, and he disengages. Lurkers feel so fucking unfair when I play against them. When Maru plays against them, he just walks away. Not a single spine seems to land. The lurkers seem like the most impotent fucking thing ever. It feels like we got a barbarian wielding a two-handed fucking claymore over his head, and it looks really scary. But Maru is just methodically fucking there in his formation. We're using short swords and spears and shields and shit, and he's just fucking stabbing him, cutting him down. He's like, you guys can look all glorious with your big fucking running around underground spikes. Dude, he's just got like a Roman formation of short swords, and they're just swinging underarm thrusts, and they're just basically stabbing the lurkers in the guts. The lurkers are like, yeah! And they just fucking, they're not landing any hits. 45 lurkers for 8 ghosts. Oh my god, welcome to Fucktown, Rogue. And you know what's crazy, guys? We just cast last week a series which happened right around this same time. Remember, it was Dark versus Rogue in that final game of, I think it was their DreamHack Winter game, in fact. And I think it was that. It might have been TS. I don't even know. There's so many tournaments overlapping. Anyway, the point being, it was late game compositions, and Dark literally played with double the cost efficiency of Rogue. Rogue is such a good early mid-game player, but has everybody else just gotten so good in the late game that Rogue can't keep up? Like, Rogue has always been such a strategic genius. He's fast, he's very good mechanically, but it feels like the way he's using this army is not getting the job done. He loses his base in the top right, and like I said, he played with identical units against Dark, and it was a similar scenario in the units lost tab. I mean, I think Maru and Dark are just experts of late game, and it feels like Rogue, he often gets ahead in the early to mid game. Can he actually contend with these guys though in late game? And honestly, the way he's just sieging with lurkers, I don't think this is what you're meant to do with lurkers, guys. I think you're meant to jump on their army, flank them with Ling Bane, and fuck their shit up. I get that he's not using Vipers, that makes sense, but I think he needs a lot more Ling Bane. He needs to be surrounding one of these armies. That unit's lost tab is absolutely horrid. It's approaching 2-1, and that's not meant to happen when you're on Lurker Tech. Lurkers are a fantastic unit. He tries to do a Lurker harass, but it's in isolation. There's not really much else going on right now. Just gets picked off for 3 SCVs. And Rogue's out of resources. That's out of mining. That's getting low on mining. This is going to be his only mining base. He's going to be able to remax, but like, what hope is there? I mean, I feel like the Serral Burrowed Infester is the one thing that I'm thinking of that could turn this around, right? The pop up the Infester, fungal the Ghost from behind, and then bam, your Lurkers and Lings jump on top, and they can't really spread and pull back as much. But Rogue, he's not found any ways forward, and it feels like he's really run out of steam. He's obviously got the Nidus Worm, which I think he's forgotten about, honestly, at this point. And Maru is like, hey buddy, I have 22 ghosts. I literally have an endless pool of energy. Let's go, dickhead. And what's Rogue doing? He's just camping with Lurker Spore Overseer. Now, the thing is, even if you've got detection as the Zerg, it's very hard to not get hit by snipes. And look at that, he forces him to unburrow, runs forward, snipes a couple Lurkers, and then he just runs back and he's like, okay, we'll use the nuke to just clear some creep, do a bit of damage to some of those. Gonna keep scanning him, looking for snipes wherever we can. Look at that, snipes a few. Oh, bit of miss micro there, does lose a ghost, a bunch more get damaged. Planetary in the bottom left is fighting against Zerglings. The twin Ibex cannon says, hey Zerglings, I am the Chad. Fucking shooting gallery. Yeah, get out of here, you dirty bugs. Get fucked. That Planetary just got 29 Zergling kills, guys. He got 10 SCVs, but does it matter? As long as Maru keeps securing bases, he's very happy. The guy, honestly, in that Planetary steering the gun is having the time of his life. I'm kind of thinking the seat inside the Planetary. Do you guys remember in A New Hope when they escape the Death Star and then some TIE fighters chase him and then Luke gets in one of those little swivelly gun port things? I like to imagine it's a lot like that. When you're firing from the Ibex cannon, I think that's the control thing. And he's got that like that 1970s computer screen where you can see the little Zergling graphics going across it, and he's like got to line up his little sights on it. I think that's exactly what it's like. I think it's a bloody fun time. You know what's not a fun time? Rogue's fucking brain right now. If you were in Rogue's shoes at this point, guys, he's just crying to himself. He's impotent at this point. What can he do? Look at that. The ghosts, he doesn't even have medevac support. Okay, the Lurkers should absolutely jump on that. He should have split to the left as well, though. No Overseers! No Overseers! They just cloak and laugh at him! Oh, Rogue is... Wow. Oh, I've never felt closer to Rogue than right now, guys. That last 5 minutes of that game, honestly, that felt like, you know that moment where your whole game plan's gone to shit and you've lost all hope, and you're just like, I don't even know what I can do anymore? And the mistakes start to stack up, right? The Libs lure the queens. He even EMPs the queens, because why the fuck not? Snipes them all down. The Lurkers are like, time for revenge, ghosts in the open. And they're like, are you sure about that, Rogue? This is Rogue's vision, guys. He's like, wait, here's the detection, it arrived. And he kills 3 ghosts before losing everything. Oh my God. That unit's lost 57,000 to 33,000. Maru is a god of late game, and he managed to kill 69 Lurkers. GG, well played. Well, oh my lord. Oh my lord. And of course, that one does take Maru beyond Rogue. This was, of course, a next qualification match, and for 16 ghosts? I don't know if this is Maru being a god or Rogue dropping the ball. I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think Raynor, I wish we had Raynor on a call right now to tell us everything that Rogue did wrong and everything Maru did that was super genius. For me, I'm just like, whoa. It felt like a bit too Lurker heavy, and too many times the Lurkers were fighting unsupported, right? I think that's the main thing there. Lovely play though from Maru, and he does get the 2-0. GG's.